this is extremely dangerous, by the way. This whole thing about censorship and cancel culture,
absolutely.
it's extremely dangerous, and it's being pushed by the left. This isn't being pushed by the Republicans. This is being pushed by the liberals, the neoliberals, the Democratic Party, to create censorship.
No, but it's not just neoliberals. Everybody on the left is pushing this cancel culture thing.
Well, the left is the neoliberal. I use that term synonymously.
Yeah, okay, but there's like the super progressive liberals.
Well, I don't think of progressives in terms of right or left, because I think you have right, left, and then you have like progressives up here somewhere.
Because, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, like they're not on that spectrum, right? Because I mean, like progressives are something different. Progressive policy is something entirely different. Progressive policy is policy for the people, right? That's going to benefit the citizenry, benefit the people, not benefit corporations, not for imperialism and warmongering. And that's what the right and left do and argue about all the time. So I think that I don't use the term left to mean progressive, but yeah, and progressives are the ones who are getting canceled more than anybody out there, by the way. Progressive voices like Glenn Greenwald,
Glenn Greenwald is awesome.
He's amazing, right? Yeah. I mean, for people who don't know, he's a constitutional lawyer who became a journalist. And he was working for The Guardian when he broke the Snowden case. He's the one who released the Snowden revelations, initially with The Guardian. And then he started his own news company called The Intercept with a few other people.
He got canceled from the thing he started.
Independent media that, was pretty good for a couple of years, had a good run, and then basically started pushing Democratic Party establishment agendas. And he wrote an article, a very nice article, very revealing article about Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
And his own newspaper that he started wouldn't publish it. And so he quit.
Yeah.
But he's amazing. And so he's been someone who he's a strong progressive voice, but he's labeled as a Russian sympathizer, Putin sympathizer. He's, all these Assad, sympathizer, all these things. Because he often,
because there's these people that
points out the hypocrisy. He points out the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party quite a bit.
Yeah, right? Well, I would say it's not focused on the Democratic Party, right? Like he's trying to tell the truth. He's trying to gather these facts and then tell the truth about something. And then what he's finding is that when it hurts the Democrats, they just come after him relentlessly.
Yeah, and so the only what do you call it? Like forum that a lot of these progressives can get on and reach a lot of people ends up being Fox News.
Yeah. And so, which is crazy to me. They end up like on Tucker Carlson and they end up on Fox News as talking heads.
You actually get this heavily right-wing media that a lot of the time is more progressive in who they bring on than the establishment left-wing media.
Noam Chomsky, doesn't he have a quote, something about like if you say a truth, no, I forget what the quote was, but I couldn't believe my eyes. I am seeing Trump supporters quoting Noam Chomsky because they feel like they're being the victim of, because what is his thing? Marketing consent, or what was it? Manufacturing. Yeah. Manufacturing consent. Maybe it was from there, but I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, do you guys not understand how far he is from your politics? Yeah. But essentially, the fundamental things that he's talking about, the right is all like the Trump support and stuff, they are being silenced that way. And they're not going to take it.
And Noam Chomsky, right? He was very outspoken for many, many decades about the idea of censorship and freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And he said, along with many, many others, he was like, if you're against the idea of your opponent expressing their ideas, then you're not for free speech.
Right.
Free speech is a two-way road, right?
Right.
And if you want to express your ideas, you have to let the other people express theirs. And so if you're against that, letting other people express their ideas that you don't agree with, then you're against free speech. But of course, that's not what's happening on the left today. Today, it's cancel culture. I
want to read his quote. Okay, this is that quote. This is what you're saying. This is being shared by Trump supporters because they're feeling the pain of this right now. The smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow very lively debate within that spectrum. Even encourage the more critical and dissident views. That gives people the sense that there's free thinking going on, while all the time the presuppositions of the system are being reinforced by the limits put on the range of the debate. So and it's true, right? Right-wing speak is being controlled and limited, and then the debate stays kind of like how you were saying. This debate stays within this spectrum of what war should we start, that kind of thing. And I think when I'm starting to see people on the right, like on the right side of things, and again, oh, by the way, some of these Trump supporters, I know them. They voted Obama, they voted Hillary, and then they switched during Trump's presidency because they felt like everything they were seeing was so fake and so manufactured against them.
And the questions people should be asking of the Democratic Party is, why aren't you trying to reclaim all those people who voted for Obama and then voted for Trump? They make no effort to try to reclaim those people. Instead, what they do is they shame people who vote third party. And that's been their agenda. If you look,
because the thing is, like, it's easy to vote third party for principle. I know.
No, it's not principle. See, that's what the left-wing media has told you, that this is a throwaway vote. People do it out of principle. A democracy is actually when people vote for what they want to see in a society, right? That's what a democracy actually is.
I agree with you, but the thing is, the way that two-party system is set up, it just is not going to work with a third-party vote. You have to have a first, you've seen that with rank system voting, like those kinds of things. So in that case, I would agree with you that, hey, give me other options, and now we have a potential to actually shift everything. But how are you going to do that? They're not going to allow that.
The two-party system isn't working. It's working for corporations.
No, I agree. But how do you not have it now?
It's not working for the American people. So we have to get out of this mindset of fear voting, this protest voting that people do. People have confused the terminology because CNN and MSNBC throw it out there that way. Protest voting is actually when you vote against a candidate. That's what
right,
protest
vote for Trump because you think the Democrats, your party, is put up such a bad candidate. That would be a protest vote.
Yeah, voting for Biden because you don't want Trump to win. That's a protest.
That's a protest vote.
Vote. The media has confused that terminology, just like they confuse conspiracy theory nowadays and things like that. And they've said that third-party voting is protest voting. That's not what third-party voters do. They're not protesting the system. They're actually voting for what they want to see in a society. Fear voting, protest voting, those are all the same. That's what a majority, that's what.
And I definitely fall in that. Like, I did not want Trump again, so I voted for the guy that I thought would beat him, and I wanted to.
Well, that's fine, but then you also have to realize what it's doing to our country to have four establishment.